for topic for today is all about the colonization food and the practice of eating. So the violence that accompanied the European colonization of the indigenous people of Mesoamerica is well-known fact. Historian has elaborated on the devastating effects such colonization had of indigenous societies, culture, and morality. So while the study of the consequences has generally focused on the social, political, and economic change forced upon indigenous population. Mm, The matter of food, the very source of survival, is rarely considered. Yet, food was a principal tool of colonization. Arguably, one cannot properly understand colonization without taking into account the issue of food and eating. So this is our um, explanation. So, karaniwan ang pag-aaral tungkol sa pananakop ay nakatuon sa mga pagbabago sa lipunan, politika at ekonomiya na ipinataw sa mga katutubong populasyon. Gayunpaman, bihira itong tumingin sa pagkain, ang pangunahing pinagkukunan ng buhay at kaligtasan. Subalit, ang pagkain ay isa sa pangunahing paraan ng pananakop. Sa katunayan, hindi lubos na maunawaan ang kolonizasyon, kundi isinaalang-alang ang isyu ng pagkain at paraan ng pagkain. So sa madaling salita, ang pagkain ay hindi lamang para sa kalusugan. Ito rin ay instrumento sa kapangyarihan at kontrol sa panahon ng pananakop. 2 slides. Imagine that you are a Spaniard, newly arrived on the coast of foreign land. Your survival depends on 2 things: security, protecting yourself from danger, and nourishment, food and other substances that are necessary for survival. In terms of former European arrived on the coast of what is now referred to as the American, fully require with the means to protect themselves. Atop horses arrived with advanced weaponry and slow of European diseases, Spaniard engaged in indigenous population in the most violence of way. Nutrition, however, was another matter. When Spaniards arrived in Mesoamerica, they encountered the Maya, Artis, and other prominent indigenous groups. The land was rich, fertile, and filled with crops such as beans, pumpkin, chili, avocados, elderberries, guavas, papaya, tomatoes, etc. And Europeans encountered similar agricultural plantation through the region. So this is our explanation. So, isipin mo na ikaw ay isang Espanyol na bagong dating sa baybay ng isang banyagong lupain. Ang iyong kaligtasan at mabuhay ay nakasalalay sa dalawang bagay. Ito yung seguridad, yung pagprotekta sa sarili laban sa panganib. At yung pagkain o sustansya, ito naman yung mga pagkain na iba pang mga bagay na kailangan para kang mabuhay. So, pagdating sa seguridad, handa ang mga Europea. May mga kabayo sila, makabagong sanad at daladalang mga sakit na nakakamatay sa mga katutubo. Dahil dito, nakipaglaban sila sa mga katutubo sa napakabagsik na paraan. Ngunit pagdating sa pagkain, ibang usapan. Nang dumating ang mga Espanyol sa Mesoamerica, nakatagpo sila ng mga Maya, Artis at iba pang mga malalaking grupo ng katutubo. Ang lupa ay masagana at mayaman sa pananim tulad ng beans, elderberry, guava, papaya, kamatis, kakao, bulak, tabako, henequin, indigo, marga, mais at kasaba. So nakakita rin ang mga European ng katulad ng masaganang mga sakahan sa buong region. So, yung madaling salita is, sabi ng bagamat, handa ang mga Espanyol para sa digmaan at protection. Ang pagkain at kabuhayan sa bagong lupain ay isang bagong hamon na kailangan nilang matutunan mula sa mga katutubo. So, dito naman tayo sa slides 3. However, to the colonists, this food was substandard and acceptable for the proper nourishment of European bodies. At the time of conquest, the European diet was principally composed of bread, oil, um, olives, meat, and wine. While this diet was somewhat sustained on the actual voyage from Europe to Americans. Upon arrival, Europeans found themselves devoid of the foods they considered necessary for survival. As Europeans began dying of in these new lands, the focus of concern shifted to foods. In fact, Columbus himself was convinced that Spaniards were dying because they lacked helpful European foods. Herein began the foods. So ito interior indigenous foods. Colonial right foods. Superior European foods by strong foods, interior indigenous foods. The Spaniards considered that without the right foods they would die, or even worse, in their mind they would become like indigenous people. So this is our explanation. So para sa mga kolinador o mananakop na Europyo, ang pagkain ng mga katutubo ay itinuturing nilang mababa ang kalidad at hindi angkop para sa tamang nutrition ng katawan ng isang Europyo. Noong panahon ng pananakop, ang karaniwang pagkain ng mga Europyo ay binubuo ng tinapay, langis ng oliba, karne at alak. Habang naglalakbay sila mula Europyo papunta sa Amerika, bahagya nilang na ipagpatuloy ang ganitong uri ng pagkain. Ngunit pagdating nila sa mga bagong lupain, wala nang mga pagkain itinuturing nilang mahalaga para mabuhay. Dahil dito maraming Europeo ang nagkasakit at namatay. Dahil sa pagkamatay ng ito, ang pagkain na naging pangunahing alalahanin ng mga mananakop. Naniwala pa nga si Christopher Columbus na ang dahilan ng pagkamatay ng mga Espanyol ay ang kakulangan nila na tinatawag na malusog na pagkain Europeo. Dito nagsimula ang kolonyal na ideya ng tamang pagkain at maling pagkain. Ang tamang pagkain ay ang mga pagkain Europeo na itinuturing nilang mas mataas o mas mahusay, habang ang maling pagkain naman ay ang pagkaang katutubo na minamaliit at itinuturing na mababa. Naniwala ang mga Espanyol na kung hindi sila kakain ng tamang pagkain, mamamatay sila o mas masahol pa sa kanilang pananaw, maging katulad sila ng mga katutubo na tinitignan nila bilang mas mababa kaysa sa mga Europeo. So, dumako naman tayo sa right food versus wrong food. So, European believe that food shaped the colonial body. In other words, the European constitution differed from that of indigenous people because the Spaniard diet different from the indigenous diet. So further, bodies could be altered by diets. Those that fear that by consuming inferior or indigenous people, Spaniard would eventually become like them. Only proper European foods would maintain the superior nature of European bodies, and only these right foods would be able to protect colonizers from the challenge posed by the New World and its unfamiliar environment. In the minds of Europeans, food not only functioned to maintain the bodily superiority of Spaniard, is also played a role in the formulation of social identify. For example, in Spain, elites generally confuse bread, meat, and wine. The poor is mean, however, could not afford such luxuries, and instead such things are barley, oat, rye, and vegetable straw. Even vegetable was classified based on social status. For example, in some cases, rooted vegetables were not considered sustainable for light consumption because they grow underground. Elites prefer to consume food that came from trees elevated from the feet of the common world. Those foods serve as an indicator of class. So this is our explanation. So, naniniwala ang mga Europeo na ang pagkain ay humuhubog sa katawan ng isang tao, lalo na sa panahon ng kolonyalismo. Para sa kanila, magkaiba ang katawan ng mga Europeo at ng mga katutubo dahil magkaiba rin ang kanilang kinakain. Ayon sa paniniwala ng mga Espanyol is maaaring magbago ang katawan ng isang tao pantay sa kanyang pagkain. Dahil dito natakot sila kung kakain sila ng tinatawag nilang mababang uri or inferior ang tawa or mababang uri or ang ibig sabihin ay inferior na pagkain ng katutubo. Unti-unti silang magiging katulad ng mga ito. Sa kanilang pananaw, tanging ang wastong pagkain Europeo lamang ang makapagpapanatili o pagiging mas mataas. So, ito yung superior ng katawan ng mga Europeo. So, naniniwala rin sila na ang mga tamang pagkain ay protection laban sa mga panganib ng bagong mundo tulad ng kanilang klima, sakit at hindi pamilyar na kapaligiran. Para sa mga kolonisador, ang pagkain ay hindi tamang tungkol sa kulusugan ng katawan kundi isang paraan upang mananatili ang kanilang kapangyarihan at pagkakilanlan bilang European. So, sa isipan ng mga Europeo, ang pagkain ay may malaking papel ng pagbuo ng panlipunang identidad. Halimbawa, sa Espanya, ang mga mamamayan o elites ay karaniwang kumakain ng tinapay, karne at alak, samantalang mga mahihirap ay hindi kayang bumili ng mga pagkain ito. Kaya sibada, ochoy at nilagang gulay ang kanilang kinakain. Kahit ang mga gulay ay hinihiwalay patay sa antas ng lipunan. Sa ilang pagkakataon, ang mga gulay na tumutubo sa ilalim ng lupa tulad ng mga ugat ay hindi itinuturog na angkop para sa mga elite. Mas gusto ng mga mamayan ang pagkain galing sa puno dahil para sa kanila mas malinis ito at mas mataas kaysa pagkain tumutubo malapit sa lupa. Dahil dito ang pagkain ay naging palatandaan ng antas ng isang tao sa lipunan kung ikaw ay mahirap, makapangyarihan o karaniwan. So, dumako naman tayo sa slides. So, the point in time mark the common defecation of these animals in the American natural. So, consequence of which was an ever-expanding meat industry. In fact, at this time, livestock ranches were so well established and were producing such large quantities of domesticated animals.
The passage explains how the arrival of Europeans in the Americas led to commercialization of animals and the rapid growth of the meat industry. Large livestock ranches produce huge amounts of meat, dairy, lard, hides, and tallow, making animal products central to the colonial economy and daily diet. However, this expansion had devastating effects on indigenous populations. Spanish settlers took large areas of land for grazing without considering indigenous land use, and roaming animal destroyed indigenous crops. This caused widespread hunger, malnutrition, and increased vulnerability to European diseases, leading to a sharp decline in the indigenous populations. Although some indigenous groups resisted European foods and tried to preserve their traditional diets, over time both indigenous people and colonies adapted foods from each other's cultures. Food acculturation in the New World occurred through colonization, power, and social control. European control, including food practices, was rewarded while indigenous traditions were suppressed. Indigenous people were encouraged or pressured to adopt Spanish costumes, including diet, because European foods, especially livestock and meat, symbolize higher social status. Conversation to Catholicism was sometimes incentivized with livestock, making European foods both economically and socially desirable. Women also played a key role spreading European food practices. Iberian women were sent to the colonies to restore order and civilized society, particularly within the household. Indigenous women were often forced into domestic labor in Spanish homes, where they were required to learn and reproduce European cooking under the supervision of Spanish women. Much of the cultural transformation took place in the kitchen, reinforcing European gender roles and food traditions. Europeans introduced dairying to the Americas, even though indigenous societies traditionally followed hunter-gatherer lifestyles and did not consume dairy. This led to a form of biological resistance to food colonization, lactose intolerance. Indigenous populations from regions without a history of dairying, such as the Americas, Africa, and much of Asia, have very high rates of lactose malabsorption, meaning many adults experience physical discomfort when consuming dairy products. In, in contrast, people of Northern European descent have low rates of lactose intolerance due to their long history of dairying.
During the time of the Spain conquest, the country faced internal division. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel relaunched the Reconquista to expel Muslim and Jewish people, creating a strong Spanish identity tied to Catholicism. Food became a symbol of this identity. Pork was allowed only for Catholics, and refusing it could mark someone as not a true Catholic, leading to persecution or expulsion. During the time of the Spain conquest, the country faced internal division. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel relaunched the Reconquista to expel Muslim and Jewish people, creating a strong Spanish identity tied to Catholicism. Food became a symbol of this identity. Pork was allowed only for Catholics, and refusing it could mark someone as not a true Catholic, leading to persecution or expulsion. During the Spanish conquest, food became a symbol of religious and cultural dominance. Catholic rituals such as the Eucharist required European meat and wine to represent the body and blood of Christ. Native food like maize were considered as a staple for these sacred rites. The Spanish official also complained about the lack of familiar foods in the Americas, prompting the Crown to investigate which European plants could grow there. Colonists then adopted agriculture to cultivate wheat, grapes, and olives, achieving some success. However, their greatest triumph was in introducing and raising farm animals which thrived in the new land. Before the Spanish arrived, Latin American have few domesticated animals used for food or labor, mostly dogs, llamas, alpacas, guinea pigs, and turkey. European brought horses, cows, pigs, sheep, and goats on Columbus' second voyage in 1493, which drastically changed indigenous life. These animals faced few predators, abundant food, and no diseases, allowing their population to grow rapidly. By the 17th century, large herds roamed the continent, making meat widely available and affordable, turning what had been a luxury in Spain into a common part of daily life in the Americas. Food plays a powerful role in colonization because it shaped culture, identity, and social norms. Colonization was a violent process that changed the lives of indigenous people, including how they produce and consume food. When the Spanish arrived in the Americas, indigenous communities encountered a very different food system that imposed new values and disrupted existing traditions. However, colonization was not passively negotiated their place within this system. Today, Latin American diet reflect both indigenous and European influences, showing how food tradition had blended over time. Studying the history of food helps us understand that eating is not just about pleasure or nutrition. It is deeply connected to culture, identity, and power. Food carries history, expresses social identity, and reflects unique power relations, making it much more than a simple daily activity.